So in this video, I wanted to take a quick look at the Pilot Iroshizuku line of inks. This is a line of 24 inks. The most popular are here, these three, but there are 24 in total, and they're all very good. So I have them all. I just bought a bunch of samples, and then I bought some larger sizes in the more practical ones for me, and I kind of wanted to talk through them because it's probably my favorite family or series or whatever of inks out there. Obviously, you could probably tell they are fountain pen inks. They are reasonably priced. A set of 3 15 milliliter bottles will cost you about $25 or $30. A single 50 milliliter bottle will cost you about $20. They're most commonly sold in sampler sets like these, with this being the most popular one. The names are all in Japanese, so it's a little bit confusing, but I have a video up on unsharpen.com that talks through most of this. The thing to know is that the manufacturer is Pilot. Sometimes they're sold under the name Namiki, but it is manufactured by Pilot. The family is called Iroshizuku, and then the ink types, the individual inks are called whatever it says up here. The most popular three are the tsuki-yo, which is a dark blue, kon-peki, which is, I think, the most popular in the entire series, and this is sort of a moderate or cerulean blue, and then takasume, which is a charcoal black, so not quite black, but essentially black. All the inks in the line are made after sort of natural colors, so they're inspired by something in nature. Maybe that's an azalea or a sunset or a type of fish or bamboo, stuff like that. And I bought a bunch of them in these little samplers, and most of the pen resellers online or fountain pen ink resellers online will sell samplers like this, either at maybe $1 each, $2 each, something like that. And the samplers are about 2 milliliters. So that's enough to basically fill a smaller pen. And then obviously you could buy them in 15 milliliters or 50. I think that covers most of it. If you want to get into an explanation of each of the individual colors and kind of how they look, again, check out Unsharpened, and I'll have some explanation of what Iroshizuku means, which is like color droplets or color dew, then what kon-peki means and stuff like that. And again, there's 24 of them, so it takes a little while to get through. It's not really practical for a video, but I did want to run through a couple. To the side. So I spent some time going through the three most popular inks and the ones you see people talking about the most. And that would be the tsuki-yo, dark blue, kon-peki, and takasume. And perhaps now you could see the colors coming through a little bit more. Doing ink like this on video is really not ideal, but we'll kind of work with it. Then you can go to the website and check out a little bit more. One thing I will say about all the Iroshizuku inks is that they really work well. You can put them in almost any pen. This one I have a Pilot kon-peki in, and this one is probably over a month old. I've had it in here, maybe even more than that, a couple months old. And right out of the gate, even though it's not a fancy pen or anything like that, and I don't use it that often, it's a great writer. All these inks, regardless of how practical they are day to day, the kon-peki is very practical, but something like Mamiji, not sure exactly the pronunciation or which one this is, but is definitely less practical. And again, there's a full line from this one is a kind of I'd say dark pink, like almost a violet, to again just a really, really nice everyday blue. They're all very practical. They all work quite well. They're super easy to clean, very limited feathering. They write nicely, relatively quick dry times. They're not all quick dryers, but some are quicker than others. So from a general performance standpoint, every one of these inks works nicely. And then you could, basically what I mean is you can buy them with confidence. And if you like you know, a certain shade of the green. Maybe you want a darker green, or no, sorry, actually, Chinruku is chiku-rin is a bamboo green, so it's a little bit lighter. But if you want a lighter green, you could buy these with confidence, which is a really solid line across the board. Back to these three main inks, because realistically, I think these are what most people will be buying. I wanted to get into comparison of them. Right here, you can see sort of a midnight blue. Moonlit night is kind of what it would translate into. Dark blue is just the color. Kon-peki is deep cerulean. Don't know the translation for that one. And Takasumi is, practically speaking, it's an off black, but it's called charcoal black. Then you can see the comparison there. This is a Tomoe River paper, so the colors will pop a little bit more than on a paper that has more acceptance of the ink. The inks will not really sink in here, so it's a slower dry time, but the color will pop more on a paper like this. And now I have just a quick comparison of the three inks, Takasumi, Kon-peki, and the tsuki-yo, compared with some, I would say, some more standard inks, just a general ink that you might have at home, so you could use them as a comparison. Sailor Black, Platinum Black, Parker Blue, Lamy Blue, Pilot Standard Blue, Kaweco Blue, so on and so forth. So now you can see them next to each other. Maybe pause the video and you could get a deeper look. I don't really want to get too much into like color preference because, you know, the blue I like may not be the blue someone else likes. Personally, I really like Lamy's blue. I think that's, for me, a great blue. Takasumi, as far as the black goes, definitely not as dark as a Sailor Black or a Platinum Black. You can see a little bit more of a sort of a gray tone there. It's closer to the Platinum than the Sailor. The Kon-peki, again, it's a cerulean, so it has a little bit more of a green tone. And it's greener than anything else here. I didn't have a great comparison to it, but it's definitely an interesting, unique ink, and it works great. And then tsuki-yo, again, it's more of a green blue. They call it midnight or moonlit night. Not too far off from the Kon-peki, or maybe a lighter blue like the Pilot, but fairly different than a blue-black. There's some other colors. I just did quick samples here. Shinruku, which is like a kind of a forest green, Suyo rather, and then Ami-iro. So you can just see the sort of range of them. And again, this is on that fancy paper. Now this is a Baron Fig paper, and I wanted to just do some general writing so you could see it in action. Start off with the Pilot, again, the Kon-peki. This is most people's favorite. I'm pretty sure it's the best seller in their line. And again, relatively quick dry times, reasonably priced, well behaved, looks nice. None of these inks really have any sheen to them. They do have some light shading, and that's going to depend on the paper and then how heavy a nib this is. I'm writing this one in a platinum 0.5 millimeter. They call it a medium, but it's really more of a Japanese broad, I would say. It puts down a fair bit of ink. And this is just really well behaved, nice writer, fun to use. No feathering or bleeding, very little like splotching or anything like that. And, you know, very little show through. That'll depend on the paper. This is a heavier paper, but this is not a particularly ink resistant paper. Also in here, I have the tsuki-yo, and this is, again, more of a kind of a midnight blue, not really a blue-black, this is kind of greenish to it, but well behaved. And now I'm writing with I believe this is a fine lamy nib. Goes down really nicely. And all these inks are just like very solid day-to-day inks. Not every one of them is going to be a great color for, you know, for work or a kind of a professional setting, as I would say, but they all work really well. And this is a Takasumi. So now this is kind of going to be, if you're looking for a black ink, this is going to be as black as it goes. And let's see, the names are, I will say, a little bit confusing if you're not a Japanese speaker. So it takes some getting used to, You know, if you just have it written down, what's, did that one already. You know, what's Shinkai? I couldn't tell you, and I've been spending a lot of time with these inks over the past couple of weeks. So here you have, it's sort of a lighter black. You know, I think at first glance, no one would question that this is a black, but if you put it next to a more standard black tone, like a carbon black, you'll see that this is actually a fair bit of a lighter tone. So I think that pretty much covers those three. And again, those are what you see most of the time, and they come in a sampler set like this, which I think is a really practical way to get involved in the series. The series has all sorts of other interesting natural tones. Like this is a yu-yake. This is a, I'm recalling it's like an orange. Yeah, I believe this one is called sunset orange. So it's like a deeper, almost a brownish orange. Has a nice flow to it. I don't really use orange ink ever, but I've had some fun with this one. I think it's pretty nice looking. And again, this is the yu-yake. And this is not in any way a good nib, and this pen tends not to write well, but it's really doing the best it can with this pen. This is a, I forget which pen this is. It's like a, it looks like an All-Star, but it's not. And what else do we have inked? You know, when you get 30 or 24 plus inks in, it's a little bit of a challenge. Not 24 plus, 24, just to be clear, there's 24 inks in the line. But when you get 24 of them in, it's hard to keep your pens ready to go. And I've been doing a lot of fountain pen cleaning over the past couple days as I prepared for this video. So this is the Shinrokyu. This is like a kind of like a forest green. This is actually, I think, a really nice green. I tend to use more kind of like accounting type greens, or like Lami's standard green, or Mont Blanc's green. I think they call it money green, but this one is quite nice. And again, this is the Shinrokyu. Nice writer, even on this nib, which is not in the best of shapes, but it's still a fun writer. This is a platinum gold nib that needs a little bit of tweaking. So really nice green. And again, with the rest of the inks in the series, they're natural tones that are going to highlight something in nature, like a forest or a tree, so on and so forth. Anyway, in summary, the Iroshizuku inks are, I would say, my favorite line of fountain pen inks. And with 24 colors, there's a lot of variety. They're all really nice performers. They're not all inks that you're going to use every day, but they're all reasonably priced, and you really can't go wrong with them. So if you like to experiment with inks, but you don't want to be disappointed, but also maybe you don't want anything crazy, none of these have heavy sheen. None of them have glitter in them or anything like that. They're all good daily inks. And again, they have a fair bit of color range. So if you want something really reliable and with a lot of bang for your buck, this is a great way to go. So that's it. Pilot Iroshizuku ink series. Thanks for watching.